Okay, so let's practice while loop in Python. How does while loop work in Python, right? So I told you while loop always has a condition. Okay, it has a condition which tells you, okay, how long to continue doing the program. Okay, so these are the situations where we don't know when how many times the loop will run, right? So for loop is used when we know exactly how many times we need to run, whether it's 2 times or 100 times or 1,000 times. While loop will always ask the user, do you want to continue? And the user says yes, or you have to have some condition, okay? And only when you will continue doing, right? So let's take a program where, okay, let's take a program where we will check if 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 a number is odd or even, okay, uh, but we will continue till the user enters, let's say, a negative number or something like that. Okay, so let's see that. um, okay, so I'm going to write the description here. Description is write a program to keep checking if a number is odd or even until user enters a, okay, um, enters a negative number. Okay, so you'll have to ask the user to enter a number, right? So I'm going to say num1 equal to int of equal to, right? Int of input, and you say and enter the number, right? So this is how we are asking you to enter the number. Now we need to check, okay? We need to check if number is odd or even, right? So how do we check if odd or even? We'd say if num1 modulo 2, right? If it is divisible by 2, modulo 2 equal to 0, that means num1 is divisible by 2. Then you say print it's even, right? Or else you will say print it's odd, correct? Now, once we enter this value, right, we need to check, okay, if this number is positive, only then you need to get in, or 0 or positive, then only you need to get in. So what I'll do here in this case, I'll read the num1 before the loop, and I'll say while num1, okay, is greater than equal to 0. And I'll move all of these inside. Okay, so now what happens? Tell me, what do you think will happen here? So I'm inputting a number, I'm getting a number, okay, converting into integer and checking if that number is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, if it is greater than or equal to 0, it'll go in, it'll check even or odd. Then it'll come back again because num1 is not changed, right? So it becomes infinite loop here, right? So I will run it, and you see here, enter a number, I say 5, it says it's odd, 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 odd. Because it goes in, it prints odd and goes up, again checks. So what should I do? Okay, once this is done, I need to ask for, again I need to ask, enter the number, isn't it? And this will be inside while. The reason I'm putting at the end is, after inputting, it will go up and check, right? So if I enter 5 now, so it checks and tells you it's odd. Now again it comes here and asks us to enter a number, right? I say 10, okay? I say 6, I say 13, okay? The moment I enter minus 1, this program stops. So this is how we are using while condition to input numbers and check if it is even or odd. And this is done continuously till the user wants it, right? So if you have 100 values to check, you can put all those 100 values one by one. And when you are done, you'll simply say -1, -10, whatever, -99, whatever, and it will stop. So this is an example of while loop where this loop continues as long as your num1 is greater than 0. Isn't it? Okay. Now we'll take another example here. Okay, we want to check while condition. So now let's say we will write a program, okay, to input two numbers and give an option to the user whether to perform addition, subtraction, or multiplication, division, right? So you'll say here num1 equal to int of input, enter first number, correct? And then you will say enter second number. So now num1 has first num and num2 has second num. Okay, great. Now what do I need to do? I need to perform addition or subtraction, right? But for that, I need to give an option to the user. We need to give a menu to the user, right? Okay, so menu, I can print something like this, print menu. Okay, then you say print 1 for addition, right? 2 for subtraction. Multiplication, division. Okay, and I say division here. Okay, so I'm adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Great. Now, once I'm done here, then I need to have an option for it to come out, isn't it? How do you come out from the loop? So I will say print, okay, 5 equal to quit. Okay, otherwise this will continue doing it. So if I run it one time, okay, if I run it one time, okay, so it enters first num, let's say 5, 4. Now it says menu option, right? So I need to ask the user to enter which option the user wants. User want to perform addition or subtraction or multiplication, right? So I'm going to say here option equal to, okay. Now see, option, I don't need to perform any arithmetic operation. So here I need not convert this to a string, sorry, into integer. I can use it like a string itself. So I'll say enter the option from above menu, right? So I expect it to give like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, correct? Okay, so now you have to check if OP equal to, because we have not converted into integer, your OP value will be a string value itself. That's why I'm saying if OP equal to 1. Okay, now you see I have to build 5 logics, or in fact I have to build 6 logic here. 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication, 5 for quit, and 6 for if there is any other option, right? Else. So I have to build 6 options here, 6 logic here, 6 different logic. Now we can't build all the 6 logic at the same time, right? So what we do is first we'll create the structure and then slowly we'll build the option. Okay. Now here we have a simple logic, but in real program, you might have to build large logic, right? Your logic might run into 50 lines or 70 lines, or okay, larger lines. So what should I do? Instead of, okay, building all the 70 into 6 logic, I can simply put pass first. Okay, pass to indicate that there's nothing. Okay, it says that there's nothing. Later, when we come back, we will take one by one option and we will add our logic. Okay, so first I'll build the structure of how to handle these conditions. So when your option is 1, you say pass. Elif, when your option becomes 2, I will say pass. Then elif, when your option is 3, I will say pass. Elif, option equal to 4, I will say pass. Okay. Elif, option equal to 5, okay, I will say pass. Else, okay, pass. Okay, so let's start building. Okay, now when you run it, your program will not give any error. But of course, it's not going to do anything, right? We have just said pass, right? We have not built any option. Okay, so here, see, this is asking us. So I can say option 1 and it will end. It will end because we haven't given any logic here for 1. So let's start building these options. Let's start with the easiest of all, right? So if the user gives something other than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it will go to else and we will say here, print, okay, you have not given a valid option. Start from beginning. Start from beginning. Okay. So it will start it to enter a new values again. All right. All good so far?
Yep.
Okay. Now let's go and build the 5th option. Okay. Now we'll go and build the 5th option. What is 5th option? 5th option is quit. Okay. Now, since this is anyway one time right now, okay, so we don't have to worry about, right? So, okay, only when you have loop, that's when the actual logic of quit will come into picture, that you want to quit. Okay, so for now let's keep it. We'll discuss when we start typing, when we start talking about while loop. So in this case, you have option equal to 1. Now we need to perform addition here. So I'm going to say print sum of the given two numbers are, and I will say here your num1 plus num2, right? So this is how you can get addition. So now if somebody enters 1, you will definitely get the right answer, right? So if I go and run this program and it says enter first number, I say 5, enter second number 6, and option 1, so says 11, right? Similarly, I can go and build option 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, option 2, 3, 4. And I'll say, oh, it's not sum, it is SUM, right?
Yep.
Okay, sum of given two numbers, difference of the given two numbers, product of the given two numbers, and this is your ratio, right? What do we say for division? I think ratio, right? So ratio of the given two numbers is n1 by n2. Okay, you multiply using star, you minus using minus. Okay, great. So now if you run, if I say 6 and I say 7 and I say option 2 to subtract, you get -1. Great. Now this is your option to run this entire stuff one time. Next step is to run this multiple times, correct? I need to run this multiple times. Now, how do I run this multiple times? I have to put a while condition. Okay, so while should be followed by some condition. While should be followed by some condition. So what condition we can give? We can say here, let's say continue, and I will say y. And now here I'll say while continue equal to y, right? So while continue variable's value is y, you keep doing all this stuff. So I'll just select all and press tab so that it all moves, inside while. Okay. So now this quotation should be outside. Okay. So see, I have said continue equal to y, and while continue equal to y, I'm checking the value. It will continue forever, right? Now, when somebody says stop, I don't want to continue. So then we have to change the value of continue to something other than small y. Okay, capital N, capital Y will also work in our case. So you will say here continue y, and here I'm saying continue equal to n. So now it goes back here. Okay, this value is false, and then it will not go inside. Correct. So let's run this and see. First num, okay, 8. Okay, 9, and I'll say option 4. So 8 by 9 is 0.8888. Then I'll enter first num. I'll say 6. Second num 5. Okay, option I'll say 3. So it's 30. Okay, enter first num 3, 6. Okay, and now I want to quit. Okay, I'll say 5. When I say 5, the continue becomes something other than small y, right? When it is something other than small y, you stop, right? The while loop condition becomes false and stops, right? So this is an example. Now I want you to, okay, go back and modify this program. Okay, so this is your assignment for this program. What is the assignment here? See, if you see this, okay, it asks the user to enter first num, second num, and then you're asking user to enter quit. Now, if you imagine, okay, if you want to quit, right? But you still have to enter first num, second num. Logically, it's not good, correct? So I want you to, okay, modify this above program, modify the above program so that user is asked to enter first and asked to enter numbers only when they choose, okay, options 1 to 4. Did you get it? So if the option is 5, then you should not ask the user to enter the number. So I want you to work on this program, modify a little bit so that user, okay, is asked to enter the numbers only when they choose 1 to 4. That means if they choose 5 or 6, okay, then it should not ask you to enter value. It's like you're asking to enter the value, then you're saying, okay, let's quit it. Okay, okay, not good. Only if the options are valid, only you will ask the user to enter. Okay, so modify this. Okay, see, all the assignments are for you to practice. Okay, if you don't get it, I want you to bring it to the class and discuss. Okay, but if you don't practice, you will not understand, isn't it? So I want you to practice, please. Okay, so here to enter numbers only when they choose option 1 to 4. Otherwise, it should not ask to enter the number. Is it clear? Any questions here? Okay, so I assume there are no questions here, right? Right? So we'll move ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to repeat what we just did, we said continue equal to y, right? Continue equal to y. And then we are checking while continue equal to y. Okay, I'm saying, how are you? Right? And then I'm saying continue equal to n to stop it, right? This is basically the logic we have used there. Now, you see here, continue what needs is true. Only then it will go in, right? Now, this is called, okay, this is called as, you know, this generally is called, okay, so when you talk about conditions checking, right? When you check the conditions, checking the condition, okay? How do you check the condition? Now, have you seen this? Have you ever traveled by metro? Hyderabad metro or any metro?
Yeah.
Right? So when you travel a metro, what they do, you have to first go through the security check, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
So your ticket is checked even before you board the train. Right? So here we call it as entry check. Okay. So you are checking the condition at the time of entrance itself. And if you don't have valid ticket, you are not allowed to get into the train. And second type of checking is, okay, when you get down, right? So now if you go to train, like normal train, they don't check your ticket while you get in, right? They'll check your ticket when you are already inside or when you try to come out, right? They'll ask you for the ticket, right? That is called exit check. Okay. So whenever you are checking condition, you can check condition like this. Okay. Entry check or exit check. Okay. When you go for a movie, they will check you at the entrance itself. Okay. And once you enter, you can go and sit anywhere. They don't check, right? Unless there is some problem. So these conditions where your conditions are checked before you enter into the program. So in while, you see, basically since while is given first, okay, so we have to check in the beginning, entry check. But if you see here, this is really not entry check. This is exit check. See, we are defining a variable count equal to y and we're checking it is y. So it's like, okay, it's like that, you know, since the while is first, we are making it entry check. We are forcing it to become an entry check. Otherwise, why would you put y and then you check y? It's like, you know, first I'm assigning it to y and then very next step I'm checking if it is y or not, right? So, okay, so if you go back here, the first program, this is actually entry check. This is real entry check because if your num is not greater than 10, you are not allowed. If your ticket is not valid, you are not allowed. Correct? If num is not greater than 0, you're not allowed. So here it truly makes sense to check this value. But in this case, it's like you are at the entrance, security say, oh, take this pass and get in. Okay, so that is really not checked. Okay, so this is condition where this is situation where we are checking the entrance. If you do not have valid num, you cannot proceed. And this is something similar I want you to ask, right? If your option, okay, the assignment which I gave you, if your option is not valid 1 to 4 option, then you can't go inside and ask for those 4 options or enter the 2 options. Okay, the way we have implemented this is where we're saying, okay, first time you go in, okay, I don't care, you go in, at the time of exit, I will check whether you have valid option or not. This is called exit checking, right? Now, when you have situation where, okay, you are checking at the end, okay, then it doesn't make sense to write cont equal to y and check for cont, right? Instead, what I'll do, I'll delete this and I will directly put while equal to true. Okay, see, you're saying cont equal to y and checking cont equal to y. So it's as good as saying true only, isn't it? That means you say, okay, you go first. Okay, I don't care. Okay, you go and I will check your ticket later. At the exit, you want to check the ticket. Okay, so if you have a situation where you have to check at the exit, okay, you don't have to say while some condition. You have to make up, right? We just actually made up that condition. Okay, you can directly say true. Okay, cont equal to y and cont equal to y is same as saying true, right? You're making it to true. So I just made it true. Once I make it true, then how do I check? Then we don't have cont variable. Okay, when we don't have, then how can we check? You have break. Okay, so break will break the loop. Okay, so we are now learning one extra keyword called break. Break will break the loop. Whatever, wherever you are, that loop will be broken. So now if I have to run it, okay, you see, how are you and loop broke because we said break. Break is to break it. Now, if I take the same program, okay, what I have here, okay, and I will go and put it here. Okay, so I will delete this variable. I will make this as true here. So while true, it gets in. And when it's time to break, I will simply say break. Now this break in this case will only work on loop, not on condition. So don't think this break is for this condition. Okay, this break is for the loop. Okay, so whenever you see break, break is to break you out of the given loop. Given loop, you have a loop here. This loop will be stopped. Okay, you might have loop inside a loop. So if you have a loop inside a loop and your break is inside the innermost loop, then you come out of the inner loop, not outer loop. Outer loop will remain as it is. Okay, so your inner break works for both both while and for loop. Okay, so your break works for both while and for, and the purpose of this is to throw you out of the given loop. Did you understand? So here I don't have to use cont variable just for namesake. I can use it for my purpose. Okay, using break, I can break it. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how we use break. So if you have a situation where your loop has to run at least one time, your loop has to run at least one time. Okay, that's when you will do the exit check. Okay, in exit check, you simply put okay, you simply put while true, and then you'll have some conditions to check. Then you go and check it. All right. Okay. So let's take another example. let's take another example. Okay. I will move this to here. Please stop me if you don't understand. Okay. We are here to learn, right? If you don't understand, please stop me. Okay. So let's do one more example. Let's say I'm thinking, okay. So we will have a program called, we'll write a program. So we'll say, write a program to generate Fibonacci series numbers. What are Fibonacci series?
First term is 0, second is 1, and then onwards addition of the first two numbers.
First number is 0, second number is 1, okay, and then every other number is sum of previous two number. So 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 1, 5, 5 plus 1, 6, 6. What did I do? Previous two number here will be 3 plus 2, 5, isn't it? Why did you say yes for 4? The next number will be previous to sum of previous two numbers. Sum of previous two number is 3 plus 5, 8. 8 plus 5, 13, and so on. Okay. So this is called as Fibonacci series number. Okay. Now we are going to generate this number using both for loop and while loop. So write a program to generate Fibonacci series number. Okay. Option 1. First 5 numbers of the series. Second, till user wants. Till user wants. Now you see first 5 numbers, right? So first 5 means we need to do for, we got our number of times, how many times we need to run the loop. So it's going to be 5 times. Loop should be 5 times, right? Okay. So see, there is no logic for first and second number. First number has to be 0, second number has to be 1. There is no logic for that. Logic starts from third number. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to say n equal to 5 times, correct? And you have first and second, let's say, equal to 0, 1. So n is 5. I want to run it 5 times. And f and s is 0 and 1. First num, second num is 0 and 1. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to say for I in range 5. Okay. Now you say if, in fact, I don't have to use f and s, but just to use it for generating third number. If I is less than 0 or actually 2. So if it is 0 or 1, we want it to print 0 or 1 only. So if I is less than 2, then you say print I, comma space, right? So I'll probably put here print prime, not prime number, right? It's Fibonacci numbers. Fibonacci numbers are, okay, and I'll put here using for loop. Okay, are I, and I don't want, I want all this output to be in same line. I don't want it to go to different line. I'll put and. In fact, I can give this only here. Why to give this extra text? Right, so I'll say I, you print I value, which is 0 or 1, and then do it. Okay, else what happens? If it is not, then what happens is your new num, that number that you have to generate, or we'll call it as third number, t is, okay, second previous plus first, right? And after this, your first number has to become the second number. So whatever you had second number will become your first number. Okay. And okay, so did you understand? So okay, here I have, let's say 0, 1, right? So next number I'm saying t equal to f is this 0, right? And s is 1. So I'm saying t equal to s plus f. So I will print t here. I'm done with t. I'll print t. But once I'm done with t, then what happens? This is second and this is first. Now second should point to third. And first should point to the second. Right? So I'm going to say this first is now second and second is now third. Right? So let's see if this works. Okay. So 0, 1, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3. If I say, okay, I'll put n here, right? Because I have used n. Now I want 10 numbers in the series. I'll put 10 here. Okay. So you have 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 5, 13, 13 plus 8, 21, 21 plus 13, 34, right? So these are your, okay, now let's count the number as well. So 3 plus 3, 6, plus 3, 9, and 1, 10. So see, we have been able to generate 9 Fibonacci series numbers. With me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, second part of it. Second part of it is till user wants. Okay. So till user wants. So I'm going to say same thing here. Fibonacci series numbers are using while loop. So n we don't know. So we don't have to put n. Okay. I will use this. I don't have to use this logic. Okay. So I'll just say f and s. Oops, not here. Here. Okay. So now I'm going to say while true. Okay. While true, because we don't know when you want to exit and you have to print at least one value. So I'm going to say while true. And then I will use, okay, print I. Now, here you see your series 1 and 2 is going to be f and s. Okay. So I will use I or counter here. I'll use variable called counter. Counter will keep track of how many values you are printing. Okay. So I'm going to say counter equal to 1. Now here you say if counter equal to 1. When counter is 1, then you will print F, first value. Okay. Once you are done, okay, and I'm going to increase the counter value to counter equal to counter plus 1. Okay. Now see, counter equal to counter plus 1, okay, can also be written as, okay, this can also be written as, okay, this is called shorthand notation, okay. This can also be written as counter plus equal to 1. Okay. Counter equal to counter plus 1, you delete counter from this side and interchange the sign. Equal to goes after plus. So it means you are saying counter equal to counter plus 1. Okay. So when if counter is 1, first counter is 1 here, right? So you want to print F. When counter is 2, elif. Elif. Okay. When counter is, okay, but here I need to print /n because once you are done, okay, the value should go to the next line. So I'll put its next line here. So here you see counter equal to 1, then F, elif, counter equal to 2, right? That means if second value you are trying to print, then you say print, okay, S, right? Okay. Now, if it is not 1 and 2, then you need to print F plus S. Okay. And not only that, after that, your F and S value should change. Correct? So your first value, okay, first value should point. So instead, what I'll do is I will take T here, right? I will say T equal to S plus F so that S and T, S and F value doesn't change. I'll put T here. Once you are done, then F should become S and S should become T. That's it. Okay. Now you have to ask the equation to the user, right? Do you want to continue or not? Right? So, okay, you will ask here. Okay. Continue, something like this. Okay. Continue equal to input. Okay. Now I can say enter any key to stop. I'm saying, okay, enter any key to stop. Now, if I enter any value, the size of continue, the number of characters in continue is going to be more than 0. So what happens? Any key to stop means if len of continue is greater than 0, then you break. Correct? If len of continue, so if I enter A or B or Z or T, okay, continue value is going to be 1. If I don't enter anything, I just hit enter, then the size of continue is going to be 0. So if it is 0, then it's fine. But if I enter something else, it should break. Okay, now let's run this and see what happens. Okay, so yeah. Okay, because you are checking, right? It has to go to the next line. So in this case, it doesn't make sense to put end. Okay, because you are getting this message here. Okay, or what I can do is, if you remember already that this is the thing, okay, I can put it something like this here. Okay, print, enter any key to stop. Okay, now if I run it, so it says 0, I hit enter, 1, hit enter, 1, 2, Okay, 3 plus 2, 5. You see, I'm keep hitting entering. Enter, 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 enter. Okay. Now the moment I enter something else, Y, T, whatever, it stops. Right? So, okay, you can implement same logic in multiple ways. First, you have to think and put your plan on paper. How should I, how do you want to implement that particular logic? Okay. Now, if you want to implement that particular logic in a fashion which is easier for you to understand and also easier to implement, right? So then when you are confirmed, when you know that, okay, this is how I want to implement it, then you come back and write your program. Okay. So today I'm going to share, okay. Any question here so far? All good, right? I'm not hearing any sound. Did you understand this?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you another file. Just give me a second. If you are finding it difficult to do the programming, okay, then you should go and solve. Okay, go through this document. I should have given you before the weekend, so you could have done it on weekend, but still okay. This is a book which talks about foundation of programming. Okay. Oops, no, this is not what I want. Go to a document upload. Should I go to? Hold on. Okay. This book, Flowchart and C Programming. Now, this book is for teaching C programming. Okay. What I want you to do is, I want you to practice all these programs, whatever they have done with Python. Is it clear? And it talks about, how do you begin programming? Okay. Okay. So this is like, what is flowchart? Okay. How to create flowchart? Okay. Program logic, branching and looping. Okay. Branching is conditions. Looping is iterations that we are doing using for loop and while loop. So it talks about these two important concepts. I want you to read through these. Okay. Read through this. Okay. If you can create flowchart, great. You can try to draw flowchart mentioned here. But more than that, okay, I want you to convert these programs into your Python programs. This is a program to add two numbers. This is a program to check, which of the, okay, two numbers, A or B is greater. Okay. So will you read this for me today? Okay. So you have if, else, and if. So this is how in C programming would do. But for Python, it is if, elif, and else. Okay. So I want you to convert all the programs. So this is the program, it's called pseudocode. Pseudocode means it is written in English language. Okay, this is called flowchart. That means program is done in the pictorial format. And then you will have a C program. Okay, so I want you to go through these programs and convert this into C program. Can you do it? I'm asking all three of you.
Yep.
I heard only one yes. Other two are not interested.
No, I'm here in this.
Okay, that makes it 2. Okay, no worries. So please go through this. So have you already done this? Did I already share this with you? No, right? Okay. So if you have already done, great. If you have not, please go. Okay. So now this is our C program. Okay. I want you to read this and write same program in Python. Okay. This is a basic. Okay. This is till what we have done. Okay. This is the level of this book. Okay. Now, tomorrow onwards, we are going to up our, level. Okay. So we have completed loops and conditions. Okay, we'll still not end. We are not going to finish it yet. I'm going to do one more program. Okay, to show you how loops are used. But I want you to, okay, practice this from here. So I'm going to share this link. Okay. Please save it. I'm also going to share this link in the blog. Okay, so even if you do not have it, that's okay. I'm going to share it in the blog anyway. Okay, so let's do one last program before we, close this topic and move to something new tomorrow. Okay. Now I'm going to develop a game program. I'm going to develop a game program. Develop guessing number game. Okay. Okay. And we're going to use all the concepts that we have discussed so far here. So this is how the program goes. So you have a number. Okay. Number equal to 55. And I have to guess the number. So if guess equal to 55, that means if guess equal to num, then you say print congratulations, right? You have guessed it correctly. Okay, else you'll say try again. Now you run this program, okay, and what happens? Your num and guess both are 55, so it go to congratulations. But if I make something else, 45, of course it goes to else part and say try again. Okay. So can we make this as a loop so that if you don't guess it correctly, you can go back and guess it again, isn't it? So the num is one time, right? So you don't change num again and again. Num is the original number that we have to guess. So it will be outside your loop. The guess will change, right? Guess has to change, obviously, right? Every time you are guessing a new number. So I will put a while true here because we don't know how many times you are going to guess. Okay, so I have to use while, not for, and you have to guess at least one time, isn't it? So I'll put true, and all of these will go inside this. Okay, once you guess it correctly, that's when you need to stop, isn't it? So once you guess it correctly, that's when we'll say break. Otherwise, we will continue to guess. Okay. And this guess number, instead of taking it directly as 45, we will ask the user to enter the number. Right? I'm going to say enter the number to guess. Okay. So you run this file. So number to guess, I'll say 35. Try again, 65. Try again. And enter the number to guess, 55. It says great, you have guessed it correctly. Now, since when you don't guess it, let's give hint to the user. Okay, so we'll give hint as if the number that you're guessing is more, it should say that you have guessed a higher number, isn't it? So I'm going to have two conditions here, else and elif. Okay, so elif, if your guess is less than num. So we'll say try to guess. Your guess is less. That means if number is 55, you have said 35. So try to guess a higher number, right? This is the hint that we are giving. Okay, here I'm going to say try to guess a lower number. Okay, so when you run it, guess the number 45, it says try to guess a higher number. 55, it stops, right? So it stopped. So this is how you have made a guessing number game. Let's keep on adding features to it. The next feature I want to add is the number, okay, guess the number, enter the number to guess, and I'll say it should be between 1 to 100 only. Okay, so it can't be anything, 500, 5,000, anything. We'll say that number is between 1 and 100. So you have to guess your number between 1 and 100 only. Okay. So I come here, okay, and okay, but before I start guessing, right, I need to check if the value is between 1 and 100. So I will say here, if guess is less than 1 or guess is greater than 100. So I need to predict number between 1 and 100. So if it is less than 1, that is 0, -1, -2, or more than 100, 101, 102, 103, etc., then you should see a message saying, okay, invalid number, okay, or invalid guess. Now, if guess is invalid, we should not go further down, isn't it? So there is one option here called continue. So we have seen break. Now we're talking about something called as continue. Break will throw you out of the loop. Continue will take you to the beginning of the loop. That means, okay, if you see the continue here, it will take you to the beginning of the loop. Okay, so after continue, you directly go to line number 7. After line number 10, you go directly to line number 7. These are not executed. These are not executed when you encounter continue. So how can you test? So let's say we also add a new feature to it where we will say, we will count how many times you took to guess the number. I'll call this as, let's say, attempt. Attempts equal to 0, right? Now, the moment you make a guess, I can say attempts plus equal to 1, right? Attempts equal to attempts plus 1. Now, why am I writing at line number 12? Why not I'm writing just after 8? That's the question. Why am I writing attempts equal to attempts plus 1 after line number 10, not before line number 9? No guess? So if I put it here after line number 8, then even if it is invalid, attempt will be counted. But now I'm putting attempts after continue. So if it is invalid, you go back to the beginning, right? You are not going to guess it further down. Right? That's why I'm putting it here. So if it is invalid, your attempt is not going to change because your program will go back to the beginning of the loop. Right? So if I run it now, you see, I say 500. I say 600. I say 800. Okay, now I say 55. So see, it says, okay, I have not printed it. Okay, you have guessed it correctly in so many attempts, and attempts also is the variable name. So I'll put it here, and then I'll put F here, right? So now when I run it, I say 500, 600, 800, and 55. So it still says correctly in one attempt. Because since these are invalid numbers, it has not counted it. Because your program went back directly from here till the beginning of the loop. So whatever is after continue has not been even touched with me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, now let's play this game really. Okay, so now we know 55. If we know 55, we can easily give 55 here. But okay, we can give 55 and you can win in one attempt. But what I will do is we will have something called as random and we will generate a random number. Okay, so that we don't know exactly what value is being generated here. So there's something called as module in Python. Okay, module is collection of functions. So we have seen, so random is a module which has functions related to random number generation. Okay, we will talk about random function after few more classes, but understand here what is random, right? Random is a module, I said. What is module then? So far we've been using functions, right? We have used print, we have used so many other functions. These functions are available for all of us, but there are some special functions which are generally not available. Okay, all these are part of your module. So module is a file. So there is a file called random.py which has many functions. And these functions, all these functions are related to generating random number. So instead of saying num equal to 55, I'm going to call the module and dot. The moment you say dot, okay, you are going to get, okay, various functions here. Okay, so there's function called randint. Random, randint, randrange. Okay, so random will generate a random value between 0 and 1. So it's a float number, right? It's a float number between 0 and 1. But here we need a random integer value. So randint will generate an integer value. Okay, so it's a function. So you have to put bracket open and close. So random int is a function which is part of your random module. Okay, so randint is a function which is in your random module, and randint takes your minimum and maximum value, and the number will be generated within that given value. So we need number between 1 and 100. So I'll say 1, 100. So your random int is going to generate a random number between 1 and 100. And every time you run it, it's going to generate a different number. So we actually don't know, okay, which number is getting generated here. Now it will be fun playing the game, right? Because we don't know what is the number here. So now you run it, it says guess the number. Tell me, which number should I guess? What you want only me to talk?
Yeah, I said let's try 10. Okay.
Okay, you said
60.
10. Okay. So it says try to guess a lower number. So I'll take 10. Now says guess a higher number. So we now know that value is between 10 and 60. Correct? So now let's take 55. Try to guess a lower number. So it's between 10 and 55. 25. Okay, guess a higher number. So number is between 25 and 55. So we'll say 30. Okay, guess a higher number. So it's between 30 and 55. I'm going to say 45. Higher, it is even higher than 45. So let me put 50 and see what happens. Higher, it is higher than 50. Higher than 50 and lower than 55, right? Or did I read it wrong? Okay, yeah, it is more than 55. So it is 52 or 53 maybe. Let's try. Yeah. It took us 8 attempts to guess the number. The number is 53. Okay. So this is how you can generate random numbers and use it in your program. We'll have a separate discussion on generating random numbers. Now we can even modify this program. So this is like, okay, developing guessing number game where computer is thinking or computer is giving the number, right? And we are guessing the number. How about we give the number? Okay. How about we give the number and let computer guess it? Okay, so I'll just move this to our other file first, and then we'll come back here and we'll say. So what does that mean? It means we want to give this number, let's say 55, and we want machine to guess it. So we will say guess equal to random dot random int 1, 100. Okay, and we will run it. It took 148 attempts. Why? Okay, if you want to put this number here, try to guess a higher number than lower number, then we are going to put this value which is guessing, right? Then so F and guess is what it is suggesting, right? So we'll take guess and we'll put it here. Okay, we'll take guess and put it here. So see here. Okay, 73. First guess was 73. So it says guess a lower number than 73. Perfect. Guess 32. Next guess was 32. So it's a higher than 32. Perfect. Now you see here, it says guess a higher number than 32, but still computer is thinking of 30. This is not right, isn't it? If I tell you to think of a number greater than 32, how can you think of 30? Right? How can you think of 31? How can you think of 14? How can you think of 2? Right? So actually our program is not thinking, it is randomly generating a value, isn't it? So what we should do here, okay, we want computer to also think like human being, isn't it? If we say it is more than 32, then the next number should not be less than 32 or even 32. It should be 33 or higher. Yes. So I'm going to declare two values called low and high. Okay. And to initially it is 1, 100, right? So initially you want it to think from 1, 100. So I'll put low, high. But next time onwards, when you guess it wrong, okay, then the low and high should change. So if I'm saying try to guess a higher number, right? Higher number than what? Guess number. So your guess number should be the lowest value, isn't it? Right? So instead of low as 1, low should be guess plus 1. So if I say try to guess a higher number than 32, try to guess a higher number than 32. So your low value should become 33, so that it thinks of 33 or higher. Similarly, when you say guess a lower number, that means your high should be guess minus 1. If it says lower number than 75, the next time you should not think more than 74, isn't it? So it should be 74. Right? Now you run it. See, 10 attempts. So 55 is the number, right? Lower than 67, higher than 30. So it says 36, higher than 36, lower than 63. So it is predicting correctly in the right direction. Okay, this time it correctly guessed in 5 attempts only. All right. So this is how, we can, add the logic that we were thinking where we were playing to the program. Okay. Now, this small change we'll do and we'll stop our program. Okay, we'll make computer versus computer. Okay, so computer versus computer. So here, instead of saying 55, we will let it think. 1,100. Thinking should be done only one, right? Number should be thought of only once. So that's why we are saying 1,100. Now, it can take 8 attempts to guess. Every time number will be different. Okay, any questions here? All good?